Yo, okay. So hi everybody. Where are we? Okay. I think we're live. You can all see me? I'm not even sure. I don't know why I'm it's been a minute since I've done this. Let's see here. Feels like we're live. YouTube is share my screen. How come YouTube isn't are we live? Yeah. Why am I not able to add that to this stage? Hi everybody. Give me 1 second here. Why can't I add myself to the screen? Oh, okay. There we go. Goodness. Hi, everybody. Sorry. I'm trying to use StreamYard. It's been a minute since I've done this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm clearly not a person who's been on the YouTubes before. And anyway, apparently there's an overlay which covers I'm sitting here going, where's my camera? I've added myself to the screen. I can hear myself, but I can't see myself. Watch this. Apparently there's an overlay you can use to cover your own video feed. Why would you do that? I don't know. These are things I don't want to think about too much. Okay, so friends, hi. I'm looking for a Postgres distribution, right? And so if I go here, share my screen, there we go. Entire screen, voila. Okay, so I'm looking for a Postgres, and it all started with this innocent tweet back in February. That's almost 2 long months ago. ElephantSQL, my trusted Postgres provider. Let's see, here it is. These wonderful folks. I've used them for years. They're also the same ones that do Cloud AMQP, right? Which is RabbitMQ as a service, right? And I've used them as well, by the way. They're quite good. I have actually zero complaints, and I had 0 complaints about Postgres as a service. My needs are modest, you know. But they're going out of business. Or at least they're shutting down this service. They even talk about it here. They're saying ElephantSQL will discontinue its services. The product will reach its end of life next January. So very soon, 8+ months, like 9 months or so, and then it's gone. And so I'm like, well, I better begin the search. And it says back in 2013, we launched ElephantSQL as a service. As one of the first services out there to offer hosted PostgreSQL. Since then, we've assisted many customers building all kinds of applications on the platform. In the spirit of keeping our company agile, we've made the strategic decision to focus on something else, the AMQP protocol via Cloud AMQP. We're noticing significant growth and interest in both RabbitMQ and ElephantMQ, which is their own home-built RabbitMQ alternative, apparently, where we continue as market leaders. As such, they plan to invest more in these areas with full attention from the company. Great. Okay. I mean, fine. I don't blame them. And actually, it's what they're doing is, it's a very crowded market now. And while I've been very pleased with their customer service, I don't begrudge them their sort of prerogative, you know. And so they're going to shut down their Postgres offering, which is a bummer because I've had no problems and it's not particularly expensive and all that. So so after May 1st, they won't even take any more users, and they're going to shut down everything January 27th. I don't know why they're waiting until May 1st. Yeah, they're stepping into a new chapter. So anyway, yeah, new chapter for 84 codes. What does that look like? Okay, increased focus. So this is February 8th. 84 codes has been around for a long time. Hosting our first open source project back in 2012. Our goal from the start has been to provide developers with tools to successfully adapt a more efficient way for inter-system communication, freeing up both resources and fostering developer creativity. A goal that we now, more than 10 years later, take pride in the success of achieving. Good. Okay. Well said. They're investing in cloud AMQP. Where are they now? They're in some sort of glacier. Okay, well, whatever. Either way, interesting stuff. I wish them well. I'll continue using their RabbitMQ stuff. But that said, I do have a lot of stuff hosted on cloud on ElephantSQL, and it's got to go somewhere. So I figured now was as good a time as ever to take a look at some of the alternatives, and there are many. And I asked about it back in February, and I got some great responses here. Lots of responses. And so today I thought we'd just go through some of those just in order. And I have no skin in the game per se, not yet anyway. I've got some interesting choices. Like, I mean, I know, isn't Gwen Shapira, I think she's there. Yugabyte, obviously a lot of if you're looking for scale, there's Supabase, so we're just gonna go through these basically. And I have a lot of like I said, I have a lot of reasons to choose a lot of these. So I'm whatever we look at today, whatever we decide, whatever eventually decide, I think they're all, it's Postgres. You're not going to be disappointed with Postgres. It's going to be good. So what about me? I guess this is the other thing, is we have to consider my context. I'm not here to build. I don't need. I'm not trying to build Facebook. You know, I'm not trying to. I have no unicorn level thing handling trillions of requests per second. And even if I did, nobody would use regular Postgres for that anyway. Maybe they'd use Yugabyte or CockroachDB or Greenplum, but that's a different use case, right? So so let's go through it. You know, basically, let's just kind of go through some of these options, and just one by one. And by the way, I'm exempting the obvious things, right? Like Amazon RDS. If I wanted to just run Postgres on Amazon, I could go to Amazon and pay them for RDS, and that gives me a fully managed MySQL or Postgres or MariaDB or Oracle with your bring your own license or SQL Server. Okay, fine. You know, that could work actually. Maybe I do that because I have the part of my infrastructure is in Amazon. That makes sense. But I've also got infrastructure on Google Cloud, and Google Cloud Postgres options. I think they have like 4 different ways you can run Postgres on Google Cloud. I mean, it's Google Cloud SQL. It's really good. They have a lot of options here. MySQL, Postgres, and SQL Server. So they don't have the Oracle, but Amazon doesn't really either. They just have you have to bring your own license. But here it is, you know, Postgres. So Cloud SQL for Postgres. I can go to the console and I can spin one of those up. Okay, that's fair too. You know, I can do that. And then Amazon, Microsoft Azure PostgreSQL. Azure database for Postgres. And why would you use any of these? Well, really, it's just about the convenience. It rolls up into the same billing for your organization. You've probably got, if you're deployed on Amazon, or if you're deployed on Azure, if you're deployed on Google Cloud, you've probably got access to everything within that, right? Within that resource group or that cost center or whatever. It's already, you know, you've got carte blanche. You can use whatever you need as long as it's charged to this account, right? And so it's just convenient. If I need Postgres and I'm already in with Microsoft Azure, then I'll just use that. So we'll just, you know, that could work. That'd be fine. Let's see. Oh, My better half's home. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see. Hold on 1 second. So we've got what's it? Peanut, please stop. Okay. So so we've got these. 1 second. Hold on. I gotta go show the dog that I'm here. You okay? Chill out. Okay, so okay. We're not going to use those. Yeah, we're not going to use. Well, we could use Amazon, we could use Azure, we could use Google Cloud. It's all Postgres. It's just the important thing is it's managed by the same costs. It's in the same cost center probably for a lot of organizations. Some of them have operationalized it in their own special way. They've got extra things there. For example, maybe they're not actually running Postgres. Maybe it's just Postgres compatible. And behind the scenes, it's backed by all sorts of stuff. You get a lot of that cool stuff from these different cloud vendors as well. Let's see, RDS, Amazon DynamoDB, memory database. Like for example, Google Cloud. Google Cloud has AlloyDB, right? AlloyDB is awesome. It's a fully managed Postgres. It's different from the Cloud SQL for Postgres because this is a compatible. It's a fully managed Postgres compatible database service for your most demanding enterprise-y workloads. Right? AlloyDB combines the best of Google with PostgreSQL for superior performance, scale, and availability. So I don't know what that means. I just know that behind the scenes they've got extra stuff in there, right? So that it really is fast. Superior performance, 4 times faster than standard Postgres for transactional workloads. Fast real-time insights, up to 100 times faster analytical queries than standard Postgres. And obviously there's a huge asterisk. I wonder what that says. Where's the asterisk? I wish they had a link. Okay, 4 times faster than standard Postgres for transactional workloads. Oh yeah, look at that. So they've even got a breakdown here. If you're just getting regular Cloud SQL for Postgres, that's just fully managed open source Postgres in their cloud, which is probably, for my purposes, that's already enough, right? I'm good. I just need a Postgres. Doesn't even need to be a cluster. Just need one instance doing the right thing, right? And it's cheapest and easiest to use. Okay, same management for both these other types of databases as well. Lowest cost relational database option, fine. They have AlloyDB, which I say is fully Postgres compatible with superior performance and scale. Great. You can imagine this is going to be a bit more expensive. Obviously, they're offering a better service, they say. And it has extra functions, extra extensions enabled for adaptive machine learning enabled autopilot systems. Great. And then going a step further, they have Google Cloud Spanner, which is their CAP theorem breaking implementation of a database that offers strong consistency, instantaneous replication, and distribution. So in theory, I can make a write in California and see that write in Singapore, like at sub-second latencies later, and guarantee consistency of the data, right? So nobody gets a dirty read in Singapore. Somehow they're doing that, right? You've heard about the CAP theorem, consistency, availability, and partitionability, and they're saying that with Postgres, with Spanner, somehow they've managed to guarantee that you get all 3. Usually with CAP theorem, you can only pick 2. Consistency or availability. Consistency and availability, or consistency. So it's just CAP theorem, right? CAP. Pick one of the 3. Pick 2 of the 3. Any combination, you should be able to get it. But they're saying we can give you all 3 basically, and It's a lot more expensive, and I've tried it though. It's really good. Obviously, I don't have any kind of use case that would demand that. They're in the Microsoft side. They have CosmosDB, right, and that gives you the same kind of. They're saying that it's, cap. They don't say as much, but the idea is that it's supposed to be a world scale distributed system that you can trust to replicate things quickly. So this is a interface. It's not the actual engine at all, but they speak the same protocol, I guess. It looks the same. So even there, that's interesting. It's a lot more expensive, obviously, but for internet scale applications, if you need that, you need that, right? So let's see what that looks like. Future-proof your applications with a no-compromise database. Yeah. Get high performance and availability at virtually unlimited scale. Remove stress from managing databases with zero-touch maintenance. Spanner decouples resources from data storage. Okay. Yeah. Search vector embeddings at virtually unlimited scale and Spanner with exact nearest neighbor. Vector search for highly partitionable workloads. Great. Automatic database sharding. Never worry about manually resharding your database. Again, built-in sharding automatically distributes data to optimize for performance and availability. Scale it up and down without interruption. Okay, so you can see that's really, really nice. If you want to automatically add capability to a node, then you want to do that with a Spanner, right? So, okay, so we got. I'm not going to use those. Okay, let's take those for granted. AlloDB looks really good. Spanner obviously is the gold standard for distribution. Microsoft Azure, like I said, they have CosmosDB. Cosmos. The database for the era of. By the way, have you noticed that all the websites, all the different properties have retooled they've rebranded themselves a little bit to incorporate AI. Obviously, this is a big thing now for understandable reasons. Build real-time apps, power responsive and intelligent apps with real-time data ingested and processed at scale. Get built-in vector search. Clearly, when I go to a SQL database, all I'm going to ever use it for is a AI use case. Okay, so query vectors and relevant data efficiently in the same database with MongoDB vCore and distributed Postgres. Vector database, so applies to NoSQL, MongoDB vCore, and Postgres. So just talk to me about Postgres. What is this? So Azure CosmosDB for Postgres documentation is a managed service for PostgreSQL extended with the Citrus open source superpower of distributed tables. So they've clearly taught Postgres some new tricks here. But it's still, it should be binary compatible. So whatever, all three of these, right? All three of these different, if I look at CosmosDB, Postgres, if I look at Cloud SQL for Postgres, if I look at, Spanner, or if I look at Alibaba, if I look at Cloud SQL, all these things, and if I look at RDS, all of them speak Postgres. It's up for debate whether they are 100% Postgres in the back end, or if they're just a really well-managed implementation of it. But again, I'm not gonna look at the big three or even the big four. I guess is AliYun Postgres. What is Alibaba? ApsaraDB. Okay, there you go. Alibaba Cloud. AliYun is the Alibaba Cloud, and it's like the Amazon Web Services for the largest cloud vendor in China, and therefore one of the largest, if not the largest, in the world. An on-demand database hosting service for Postgres with automated monitoring, backup, and disaster recovery capabilities. By now, RDS for Postgres. So wait, it's RDS as well. I wonder why it's called RDS. Learn more. Easy upgrades. So I don't know, what does buy now look like? I guess we should also look at the prices, Sign in with Google. Sure, what could go wrong? It's interesting that the fonts are all in serif. Do I want to do a password right now? No, let's just assume I don't. Okay, so popular scenarios. interesting that they're not talking about AI as much here. Okay, except, oh, interesting. Look at that. They have different. So ApsaraDB RDS for Postgres serverless, scale automatically in seconds, only pay for actual usage, lower cost. Okay, 14, 15, 16. By the way, current version is 16, I think. So PostgreSQL current release 17 is the new one. Right now, the GA, outside available is 16. Okay, so you're going to get, that's it. That's a good point. So we've got a couple of rubrics here. We've got a couple of things we want to compare. One is pricing. Two is, do they have a free tier? Three is it like full Postgres, or does it have extensions? And if so, what? Five is it serverless? And when they say serverless, they mean maybe the server containing your data is not available until you make a request, right? In which case it spins up a selector to respond to that, right? And I see a lot of database companies talking about that. Like for me, that would actually be fine. My use cases are infrequent. A lot of my use cases are read-only, and even there, I often have a Redis cache in front of it. So I don't actually care if the Postgres that I'm using is sitting there listening on a socket 24/7, all month long, all year long, right? It really doesn't need to be, right? So, and if they can charge me less for that, then why not? So from 3 cents an hour, so 3 times 24.72, is that right? That sounds about right. 72 cents a day. So not even $30 a month for the serverless version of this, which is fine. It would be nice if it was free, but I was paying for ElephantSQL. I'm happy to pay them, and I don't think I was paying them. How much was I paying them? I don't even know. Let's see. ElephantSQL. I was paying for pricing. I had the Pretty Panda, which is $19 a month, right? 20 concurrent connections, and I probably had 2 or 3 of them at that price, actually. So let's say I'm spending less than $100 a month for several different apps that use a Postgres, and they're so cheap that I just added a bunch. So maybe I'm looking for. I mean, it would be nice if they had a free tier, but if they didn't, it'd be nice if it was cheap. Okay, so yeah, I guess I want to avoid those options, interesting though they are. Is this how are we doing? Yeah, good. Okay, so let's go back to our list here. So let's go into the different options here. First and foremost, so we talked about AlloyDB. Let's talk about we talked about the cloud vendors, right? Cloud vendors, AWS, Azure, Alibaba, Google Cloud, right? In no particular order. Let's talk about DigitalOcean. This is another cloud vendor. I forgot about that one. They have Postgres, right? Surely. Big cloud infrastructure company. And okay, there you go. They got Postgres, they got Redis, they got MySQL, they got Kafka. So like I could be happy here. They've got all my tools. Agree and proceed. Why Postgres? It's an open source thing. Free daily backups. That's important to me. I want to be able to log in and get backups all the time. How to spin up a Postgres cluster. Okay, gives you. It looks like they give you just a little console. You can spin up it. So it's just open source Postgres. How much does it cost? Cache hit ratio. Okay. Good monitoring. So yeah, again, one of the value adds. If you're just doing stock standard, bog standard, open source Postgres, then you're going to want stuff around the edges, like observability, monitoring, health alerts, backups, consoles, easy interactions with it. Like, don't make me spin up a laptop with PSQL just to be able to try something out. Maybe I can log into a web page and fire off a query there. It's important as well. So database sharding, okay, I get that. Introduction to queries, that's nice. These are not things I care about, the resources, but it's nice to know they have it. World-class support, and the other one I saw there. Wait, actually, let's look at that feature. Automated failover. Oh, nice. So that's actually a pretty good deal there. 2 gigs of RAM. That's a lot more RAM than I think I'm going to need, but okay. Disk usage is a percentage of disk used by all nodes in the cluster. It should fluctuate. Okay. Predictable pricing. Let's look at pricing. There you go. 1 gig for one virtual CPU with 10 gigs of disk, which is more than I need, is 0.02. So this is actually cheaper than the Alibaba one, right? This is like 2 cents, less than 3 cents. It's 2.2 cents an hour. So, or 15 bucks a month, which is fantastic, right? That makes sense. So is that true? I wonder if that's true. Is it like is it either or what? So times 24 times 30, 16 bucks a month. So that's about right. So are you paying a flat rate, or is it literally if you buy by the hour, then you pay this rate, but if you pay flat rate every month, you pay this much? I don't know what the use case is for serverless Postgres, but okay. If I add a replication node, this goes up to 8 cents or 60 bucks a month. Seems a lot more, right? But they're doing us a favor. If I add 3 nodes, it goes up to 13 cents an hour, so a couple bucks a day at least, and 90 bucks a month. If I want, what is a basic regular? Okay. So you can see it. If you get premium Intel, premium AMD, I don't want either of those. Where's premium ARM? Give me the really good stuff, you know. And then they have different configurations here for like general purpose versus optimized for storage. In this case, you've got a lot of disk space, 300 gigs versus this one, which is 30 gigs. So literally 10x more. 636 bucks a month. If you've got, you know, that much data, then yeah, you can pay this much. That's okay. But I don't need that. Okay. But it's nice to know. Like just a stock standard basic one with 30 gigs, which is way more than I'm going to need, is, you know, you can get a 2-node replicated version for 60 bucks. So let's say we want to keep it in that. I'm happy here. I'm happy in this threshold. I want to keep it under 100 bucks for my deployment. Okay, so DigitalOcean, nice, very good. Nile database. I've been meaning to take a look at this one for a while. I could be wrong. Where's the team? About us. Yeah, this is. So you probably know Gwen there. Gwen, Twitter, Gwen Shap. Yeah, co-founder of Nile database. She's a deity in the data world. You know, she's a data deity. She was at Confluent, you know, the Kafka company for forever, and she's a co-founder of Nile database. And if she's behind it, then I think there's probably some really cool stuff happening there, right? I know she knows her stuff. So let's see. Over the 6 years of Confluent, we transformed the company from being primarily on-premise to a globally successful SaaS company. Through this journey, we learned the challenges of building a SaaS product and what it takes to launch and scale to thousands of customers and tens of thousands of users. Most of our problems in building SaaS were around data, and yet the database had little to offer. We spent significant time managing tenants, building organization and user management, supporting different tenant deployment models, storing and moving data to different parts of the organization, tracking usage and billing individual customers, and handling many other SaaS problems. We became fixated on the problem, on making the process of building and scaling SaaS products easier. This obsession drove us to create Nile with the goal of building something truly wonderful that can help thousands of developers create world-class SaaS products. So they're saying you use their thing, they become your database, you can worry about your business logic, that's the right pitch for me, right? Enable developers to accelerate the next billion modern SaaS offerings. That's cool. Okay, so what do we got? Oh, wow. Interesting. So you've got these really convenient like starters, basically. Huh. Okay, there's a command line tool called npx. I didn't know about all that stuff. This is really cool. Okay, so let's just see getting started. What does getting started look like? So do I want to get started with these other languages? What is Java? Who uses that? In this tutorial, you'll be learning about Nile's tenant visualization features while building a to-do list application with Java, Spring Boot 3, and Hibernate. Okay, I like this a lot. Good stuff. Create the table, log in. Oh, look at it. You got a nice console there. Get the credentials, sample you can follow, Spring data source, putting it to db.nile.dev. Okay, look, already they're clearly speaking my language. They understand that I just want something I can spin up. It's in private beta, so there's no discussion of pricing here yet. Introducing Nile, serverless platform, serverless Postgres for modern SaaS. I am thrilled to announce Nile, a serverless Postgres database designed for modern SaaS applications. Modern SaaS applications are multi-tenant. We're the first database that virtualizes tenants into the database. This enables seamless tenant isolation, per tenant backups, and placement on multi-tenant or dedicated infrastructure anywhere on the planet. You can do all this with the experience of a single Postgres. You don't have to manage multiple databases, build complex permissions for isolation, or write buggy scripts to read specific tenant data from backups. And on top of the tenant model, we provide opt-in user management capabilities, customer-specific vector embeddings, and instant tenant admin dashboards. You can do all of this with very little code. Moreover, Nile's Postgres database is built for the cloud, enabling effortless scaling and a true serverless experience. You can sign up for our waitlist today to try it out. Okay, sign me up. Okay, joining the waitlist. Thanks for joining. All right, we'll find out. That looks really cool. Look at that. That looks really good. Backed by Benchmark. That's cool. Is that the VC company? And so you got the tenants. You've got a tables. So I guess the idea is that you can do tenant management here. Drop in user management. What does that mean? Wait, start us on GitHub. Oh, wow. Nile virtualizes tenants, customers, organizations into Postgres to enable native tenant data isolation. Performance isolation between tenants, per tenant backups, and tenant placement are on shared or dedicated compute globally for latency or compliance. Tenants. So what does that show me? I've got an ID, a name. Okay. So I insert into the tenants table, my first customer, select all from tenants. So that looks, what does that mean though? Can I go back to, So is there like an API? Like, is it just as simple as that? I write into their tenant table and suddenly I've got a dedicated private SQL database there? Because that would actually make a lot of applications a lot easier, right? I mean, Spring has great integration throughout the stack, starting from Spring Security onwards, since that's Spring Security is where the user context lives, right? And it's natural to bifurcate your program in terms of that context to describe your tenant. And so using Spring Data, you can automatically have it be tenant aware, and Spring MVC obviously is Spring Security aware, so it's got that context there. But so much of that support, as good as it is only needed because there's no built-in way to do that automatically in the database table. But this looks like that challenges and indeed upends that assertion, that assumption. This is really cool. I can't wait to try this out. So Nile database. This looks like it could be something I would definitely have to try in a more exhaustive fashion. Let's see what else we got. Yugabyte. I did a Spring Tips video on this one. I love Yugabyte. Spring Tips. Here you go. I did this back in 2022. Spring tips: brave, bold, and boring Yugabyte. Yugabyte is very boring. That's the whole point. It's Postgres. It just works really, really good. It's just really, really good. So you can log in, configure where you want to deploy, that kind of thing. So Yugabyte. Why do you care about this? And by the way, I had their CTO, Karthik. Like if you look at the company, Trust Center, about Yugabyte, the origins. Karthik Ranganathan. He was on the podcast as well. So if I Google him, beautiful podcast. Yeah, here he is. Back in 2021, we had him on the podcast. Super interesting discussion because he helped build HBase and Cassandra before, right? So he knows how to scale. The rest of us talk about it. This is a person who has built two of the most preeminent distributed databases of the last 100 years, which is a weird timeline. I don't know why I chose 100 instead of 20, but whatever. So yeah, this is their database. This is Postgres, but with the, so he's co-founder and co-CEO. I got that wrong. He's not the CTO. And here's Bill Cook, by the way, another person we used to work together at Pivotal. He was a I don't know, senior vice president or something, general manager. Really, really impressive human being. And yeah, just an amazing bench of deeply talented people. Scott McNeely from Sun, right? Like you could do a lot worse than to bet the business on these people and these technologies. So what do we got? So their database is Postgres, but it's not pure Postgres, right? It's Postgres compatible. It is Postgres, I think, largely, but it's meant to scale. And also, this is a, let me see. Yes, I do. What can you tell me? Okay. Button 1 or button 2? I don't know. Just button 1, sure. Nope. I want button 2. How do I? Never mind. Look, I'm not expecting this to be cheap, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And the reason is because this is meant to do scale. It's meant to be horizontally scalable. So products, go here, product overview. YugabyteDB, distributed PostgreSQL for modern apps. Run your business critical applications on a distributed database with built-in resilience, seamless scalability, and flexible geo-distribution with using Postgres compatible and Cassandra inspired API. So there you go, PostgreSQL compatible. Interesting, right? I misspoke. It's not 100% Postgres, and I'm not even sure if it's actually Postgres at all. It's just compatible with, which is nice. So YugabyteDB, strong consistency, ACID transactions, relational database model, horizontal scale, built-in resilience, geo-distribution, native replication, ease of use, open source, no cloud lock-in. Okay, so that's nice. Okay. So the app uses JDBC or ADODB, right? And .NET, or they use whatever. Talk to the load balancer, Yugabyte load balancer, which talks to the connection pool, which then sends it to a physical Postgres instance. So this is the old style. Okay, here's a YugabyteDB is a distributed database that automatically shards, replicates, and distributes data for dynamic on-demand scaling. So the application logical connection goes to the load balancer, which goes to the connection pool, which then opens up a physical connection to it looks like any one of these or all of them. And they can also scale the reads across other nodes. So they can distribute data for on-demand scaling. Okay, great. Yugabyte's built-in connection manager eliminates the need for an external connection pool, scaling connections as you add nodes. Okay, so that gets simpler. Now it's just app client goes straight to the load balancer. Load balancer goes to YugabyteDB. Infinite horizontal scalability, lower cost, automated on-demand scaling, simple built-in connection pool, built-in resilience and high availability. Okay, you still have an external load balancer that you have to maintain. Inherently complex architecture, right? So app load balancer, and the load balancer does the cluster. The connection manager then figures out where to route it. It looks like, okay, how can we make this better? Now we have a smart SQL driver, which is aware of YugabyteDB. So it's you're still using like a Postgres from your Java code, but the URL and the driver itself are a little bit more aware of the inherent horizontal scalability here. YugabyteDB topology aware smart drivers eliminate the need for load balancer and can dynamically adapt to environment changes. So the Java code itself in your program is aware of topology changes and all that. That's cool. Okay, I like that. Oh, nice. So in sum, now you've got smart drivers talking to a cluster, and the clusters are all Yugabyte instances, and they're all load balanced and sharding aware. Interesting. Infinite horizontal scalability, lower cost, automated on-demand scaling, simple built-in connection pooling, built-in resilience and high availability, no load balancers required, simple unified architecture, works on different clouds, supports different APIs. So you can, I'm going to use Postgres, or you can use a Cassandra-inspired API. Connection management, boost connection creation by 20x and support 5 times more connections with built-in connection pooling. Observability, get real-time access to consolidated monitoring and alerts. Native security, secure your data with end-to-end encryption, advanced authentication, and security-first design. Tunable backups, no hassle upgrades. Geographic distribution. So this is really cool. This is the kind of thing, you know, if I was going to go to production tomorrow and build a real service, like not my admittedly trivial services. And by the way, when I say my services, I'm talking about things like joshlong.com, for example, this website, you know, my home page, which contains all my blogs, my upcoming appearances, my podcast appearances, the books and videos, the latest and greatest spring tips videos, and just coffee software videos, etc. So all that stuff is here. What about the podcast itself? The podcast FM. Here you go. This is the latest and greatest podcast episodes. They're all here. That kind of stuff. I have lots of like little services. A lot of them are read only, so it's not a heavy. I create a new podcast every week. Well, that's 52 a year. It's not write heavy. It doesn't need a massive amount of geo-replication and whatever. It just needs to be fast. And there I get the results that I need from caching, from Redis if I need to. Okay, so I like Yugabyte. Good stuff, really good. What about CockroachDB? So remember we talked about Spanner earlier? Spanner is, of course, Google Cloud specific, right? It's not part of, you can't run it off Google Cloud. It has to run in Google Cloud. It benefits, they will say, from Google's data center, finesse, right? They know how to run, scale, deploy, and manage a globally available service, and you couldn't possibly do that yourself, right? And can't argue with their results, but some people do argue with the assertion. And one such company, one such offering is Cockroach Labs. One highly available, performant, mission-critical apps at scale with cloud-native distributed SQL database. CockroachDB is built for mission-critical workloads, powering global applications that demand the highest availability, horizontal scale, performance, and data consistency across any infrastructure. 24,000 likes on GitHub stars, used by companies like Comcast, NBC Comcast, Bose, Fortinet, shipped and Hard Rock Digital. Okay. I should also mention that Spring alum and friend Greg Turnquist is now at CockroachDB. So follow him, first of all. He's great. You've probably seen, I think you've probably seen him on my show. And he's got his own little show there as well. And it's like mine. Well, he's got better thumbnails, that's for sure. Yeah, and he's there now. And so like if it's good enough for him, it is implicitly good enough for me. I'm a big Greg Turnquist fan. So let's see what they got here, huh? And again, so Cockroach, YugabyteDB, and Nile. Well, Cockroach and Yugabyte and AlloyDB and Spanner are Postgres-like. I mean, AlloyDB is Postgres, but it has extra extensions that you need a specialized awareness to run, right? Same thing for Cockroach, same thing for Spanner, same thing for Yugabyte. These are not regular Postgres. They are varying levels of compliance with Postgres, but they are not pure Postgres, and they have superpowers as a result. They can scale, right? So if you wanted to build an online service at scale, maybe use CockroachDB, maybe use Yugabyte, maybe use AlloyDB, right? With Nile, you get built-in tenant management. So I'm not sure how good it is at scale and horizontal deployments, but if I want easy tenancy in my software as a service offering, then of course I'm going to use NileDB. So these are not just pure, they're Postgres++. Let's put it that way. All of these are in that broad category as compared to DigitalOcean's Postgres, which we looked at earlier, which is just stock standard Ocean, Postgres open source, or Google, Cloud SQL for Google Cloud, or AWS RDS, or Azure Postgres. Okay, so we've got lots of different options here, but you have to know where they sit. So the ones that we're looking at right now are going to be a little bit more expensive. So let's see. Well, first of all, what is this open source project? Get started, I guess. I agree. Don't make me sign up. Continue, dismiss. Nope. I just want to there you go. Serverless. Available on Google Cloud and AWS, so you can it's multi-cloud. This one, the dedicated one, is on AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. SRE team support and guaranteed uptime, elastic autoscale across multiple regions, row-based data partitioning across geographies, automated no downtime upgrades, daily and hourly upgrades. Backups. That's really cool. Free for up to 10 gigabytes and 50 million RUs per organization per month. What does that mean? RUs. No credit card required to start. I don't mind a credit card. Request units. A request unit measures the amount of compute and IOPS each query will incur. Every query has varying requirements for resources. RUs are an abstracted metric that represents the size and complexity of these requests. The price of RUs is 20 cents for every additional 1 million request units above the 50 million request units given to each organization per month. So you can see, if you're at the scale where you have 50, because I don't have maybe I have 1 million leads, but I don't have 1 million, nothing interesting is happening 1 million times per month in my scenario. So this is definitely, you're in the game of scale, in which case you want that to be a linear cost, right? And that's what they're doing here. They're saying, look, we are able to scale. We want you to scale. The cost of doing so looks like it's going to be predictable and linear, and will meet you where you are. I like this a lot. This is really good. Read one row of 64 bytes. RUs per query, 1.03. Okay, so I could do that 50 million times. Well, less than 50, but just under 50 million times, right? Price per 1 million queries, 21 cents. Okay. Writing one row with added complexity. Adding complexity to a query such as an index or a join increases the number of RUs consumed. Write one row of 1,024 bytes with 0 indexes. Okay, good. And this is really cool. Like, what an amazing. I don't understand all this. I guess I just have to try deploying an app there for a month and seeing what it looks like. The pricing does look a little confusing, I gotta be honest with you, but but it looks like you can do it for 0. Let's see here. Lose my voice. Self-hosted. Okay, serverless. Okay, dedicated, mission-critical use cases in a flexible environment. Self-hosted. Oh wow, you can do that on-prem. So what is CockroachDB GitHub? What's that? I mean, clearly very actively maintained. Something happened an hour ago with 92,000 plus commits. So cool. Cloud-native distributed database designed to build, scale, and manage modern data-intensive applications. What is CockroachDB? Docs, starting with Cockroach Cloud, starting with CockroachDB, client drivers, deployment, need help. CockroachDB. Well, you can build it from source and run it yourself. That's really cool. So it supports the Postgres wire protocol. So you can use any available Postgres driver to connect from various languages. Cockroach Cloud, steps to create, okay. Manual. So it's actually an open source project, and what you're paying for is the hosted deployment and scale and run of that database. That's really cool. So this might be this is 100% worth a look if you're trying to scale, right? But again, it's not my problem. I mean, I want a second node just for. Actually, I want backups. One node is fine, especially if it automatically fails over to another single node. I don't need availability. My one node is available enough, and even if it goes down for a little while, I think I'll be fine. What's CrunchyBase, huh? CrunchyDB. There you go. Crunchy data. Okay. Enable your Postgres. Enable your organization to build confidently with Postgres, Orange, SAS. Okay. Department of Homeland Security, UPS. Okay. Wow. Bare metal, virtual machines, clouds, Kubernetes, or a fully managed cloud experience. See me, I have a Postgres. I mean, I'm using Kubernetes, right? I deploy everything in Kubernetes, but I don't trust myself with data on Kubernetes. So and I don't have anything particularly sensitive or whatever. So I'm very, very happy to I'll pay you, you run it, make sure it's backed up, and I'll, just call me if the bill hasn't been paid, Otherwise, I don't want to care about it. So as much as this is interesting, it's cool that you got that. It's cool that they've got an operator. It looks like they've got an operator. Yeah, they do. Crunchy Postgres operator, PGO. As cool as that is, I hope I never have to use this. Like, I'm very happy just paying someone to do this for me. Cool. So you got a dashboard, nice. You got all sorts of availability. Great replicas, nice. Read replicas. Wow, that's cool. Look at that. Great for running expensive queries. Yeah. Plans start at $10 a month. That is so cool. Okay. Are there any superpowers? Is it just sort of ease of availability and deployment as opposed to speed or scale or tenants or whatever. Pricing. Okay. Crunchy Postgres. I don't want, this is the self-managed one. That's the enemy there. I don't want that. Close this. Fully managed PostgreSQL by the experts at Crunchy Data. Ready to launch on the provider of your choice, AWS, Azure, GCP, with plans starting at $10 a month. Performance-tuned deployments, monitoring 24/7, backups, no cost. Security, they are not, I mean, I guess if you have government customers, you have to be very clear about this kind of stuff, and I appreciate that. Built-in audit logs, encryption in transit, encryption at rest. This is really cool, actually. This is huge right here. Postgres doesn't have it doesn't have encryption at rest, as far as I know. Postgres encryption at rest. I know there are extensions you can add, right? This is not what I'm talking about. This one. So Postgres TDE, apparently that's in PG. I'm not sure how well maintained this is or what this is, but basically encryption at rest is a very important idea. It's the idea that I can just create a database, work with it, write to it, read from it, and then as I'm making those writes, it's writing things to a disk buffer, and then that data on the disk is encrypted. So that if somebody were to, in the worst case, without my password, access the disk on which my database resided, then they wouldn't be able to make hide nor hair of the actual data. It can be a little slower, of course, but if you want to be guaranteed that nobody can get access to your data without both the physical data and your credentials, your key or whatever, then that could be very useful. Okay, so where were we? Okay. Too many works. We were looking at Crunchy database, right? Crunchy. Okay. Lots of cool features. So it looks like it's just a very enterprise ready, like checks all the boxes for auditing and operations and all that stuff. What's the pricing? Like they said $10 a month. I like $10 a month. I'd pay 11 even. Products. Crunchy Bridge, fully managed cloud Postgres. Crunchy Postgres for Cloud Foundry. Woot. I love Cloud Foundry. Full compatibility with Cloud Foundry and any Bosch compatible systems. PostGIS, no forks. It's built on 100% open source native PostgreSQL. Good stuff. See, that's really cool. Okay. Crunchy hardened Postgres. Data user. Enhanced RBAC. You can talk to LDAP. Transparent data encryption. Oh, okay, there it is. TDE. That's what we talked about earlier. Yeah, Postgres table files on disk are fully encrypted by the Postgres database itself and decrypted transparently upon execution. The TDE mechanism works with a fully HA failover scenario as well. That's so cool. Okay, row level security, row level and column level security roles can be an important part of database configuration in a hardened Postgres environment and are implemented per process requirements as needed. This is not valid English, I don't think. Crunchy, or at least I can't parse it. Crunchy has extensive experience with this part of the code base. Okay. Common criteria, EAL plus 2 plus is Postgres is at the core of Crunchy hardened Postgres and is therefore interoperable with any applications that can connect to Postgres. This is really cool. They have a security conscious version of Postgres. Locked down, secured, everything. Yeah, that's really, and it's scalable too. So that's interesting. I don't need that, but nice to know it exists. Pricing. With plans starting at $10 a month. Hosted. View pricing breakdowns, please. So hobby 0, that's me. 2 cores, half a gig of RAM. I don't think that's disk space. Is $9 a month. Actually, this is great. This is really good. 100 storage costs 10 cents per gigabyte. So if I wanted 100 gigs of data, it'd be $10 a month. This is actually really, really good. Remember how much it cost in some of those other providers to get 300 gigs, whatever, it's like $600. So this is amazing. Okay, I will look at this. This looks good. It's on AWS, $35 on Azure. So it's it's $9 a month for that lowest configuration on AWS. 35. Is it different in memory? No. Oh yeah, the memory is, so it's 2 cores and half a gig of memory on AWS. 1 core but 2 gigs of memory, 4 times more gigs of memory on Azure. And Google Cloud. So it looks like AWS you can start at a much smaller threshold, half a gig of RAM. Everything else you have to start with 2 gigs of RAM. And so if you're on AWS, it's $9. If you're on Azure or Google Cloud, it's $35. Isn't that interesting? Some of the other Postgres providers we just looked at started, they had like Azure and Google Cloud were available, but if you wanted to do AWS, that was a different tier even, right? Because they want to pay for the thing they want people to pay for the thing that's the most common. Okay, Crunchy MLS Postgres. Multi-level security environments. That's really good. Okay, so I would definitely look at this. Looks like it's both technically interesting and price, appropriate. Greenplum, friends. This isn't my use case. This is for warehousing, data warehousing, and analytics, and machine learning, and AI, an open source, massively parallel data platform. All the reasons to choose Greenplum: true flexibility based on Postgres. I should mention, this is, well, I mean, it used to be. I don't know. Is it part of Broadcom now? Yeah, it's part of Broadcom now, but this came from its own thing, and then it was part of VMware, and then part of Pivotal, and then maybe it wasn't part of VMware, but then it was part of Pivotal, and then it became part of VMware, and then VMware just acquired Broadcom. So I work at Broadcom, but this is a analytics database. It's not just, it is Postgres, but it's got superpowers to support analytics use cases, right? So I don't know if this is it's got extra connectivity with HDFS, Hive, and HBase. Greenplum backup and Greenplum restore. Greenplum Python is a Python library that users. Okay. Madlib, open source distributed database machine learning algorithm library that supports Greenplum database and Postgres. It's very cool. I don't know how you would run it in the cloud. I know you can run it locally, of course. I don't know much about it, but I know it's not my use case. I'm not optimizing for warehousing and analytics and all that. But it's really, really, it's been around forever. It's arguably one of the first distributed Postgres, out there. What else? Supabase. So this is not a Postgres. I mean, it is, but it's so much more. It's a open source Firebase. It's an open source backend for a front end. It provides authentication. It provides storage. It provides users management and authentication. It provides real-time subscriptions, functions, edge functions, vector embeddings, and so much more. So you sign up for this, and you also get a Postgres database, and the Postgres database in turn looks really good. That's why I mentioned it, because it's got a ton of different. You just click a button and it automatically adds all these functions to your Postgres for you, right? Never write an API again. Okay, so awesome libraries in JavaScript, everything except for Java. They got Kotlin though. I appreciate that. So let's see here. Supabase. Oh, I just want the Postgres database stuff here. Every Supabase project comes with a full Postgres database, a free and open source database, which is considered one of the most stable and advanced databases. Very true. I love Postgres. You don't have to be a database expert to start using Supabase. Our table view makes Postgres as easy to use as a spreadsheet. Thank you for that. Relationships, dig into relationships within your data, fine. Clone tables, you can duplicate your tables just like you would inside a spreadsheet, okay. SQL editor, additional features. So apparently, like, this is like, Postgre or PostgreSQL. Okay, you know what? Tangent. Let's talk about this. PostgreSQL, the database, was derived from the Postgres project, a package written at the University of California at Berkeley in 1986, 2 years after I was born. This package included a query language called PostgreSQL. In 1994, Postgres 95 was built on top of the Postgres code, adding a SQL language interpreter as a replacement for PostgreSQL. Eventually, Postgres 95 was renamed to PostgreSQL to reflect the SQL query capability. After this, many people referred to it as Postgres since it's less prone to confusion. Supabase is all about simplicity, so we also refer to it as Postgres. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. By the way, do we have any questions, any comments? Here we go. Upstash, interesting. They asked us to switch to Postgres to Azure at my. We did that with Aziz SQL at work. So is PCF still relevant for the name? I thought they switched it to Tanzu. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. It's okay. RIP Java. Yeah. Built by the original. Oh, really? Hi, Craig. Good to hear from you. So that's another point. That's are you talking about crunchy data, Craig? I think I just saw your emoji. Let's see, where is he? Was it this one? Where did Craig's emote just come up? Was it here? Crunchy. Yeah. By the way, they I don't know if they have. Is it still around? This is another one that was like very early days. Managed Postgres, Heroku Postgres from Heroku, right? And yeah, I guess you could use that. But so, Craig, are you saying that this is the team that built this, which I used to use and I'm a fan of? Are you saying that you've got a new thing now? I should have been paying more attention to the comments. Craig Christians. Let me see. Craig Christians. Crunchy data. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's go to crunchy data. That explains why this is so appealing. It strikes the right price points. It's got the technology. So this is from the people that built the Heroku Postgres. So really, wow, there's some really amazing people building Postgres as a service offerings here. Wow. Okay, so I'm glad I didn't even. So look, I had in the list here. I don't think I even had Heroku. I wasn't going to look at it, right? Yeah, this is interesting. So, okay, crunchy from the Heroku Postgres. Okay. Wow. So Supabase looks good as well. It's Postgres. It has, it's got vector, of course. Got to have vector, otherwise you can't have a database today. You're not allowed by law, I think, unless you have an AI play. Edge functions, JavaScript. Steady, old man. Okay, it'll be fine. Auth with tons of integrations. Every Supabase project comes with a complete user map. Yeah, okay. I want my database. So built-in auth. Okay, real-time enabled, 100% portable, easy to use. I've heard. So the reason I looked at this is because there's just this incredible console full of like Postgres extensions, I guess. Where did I find that? Database. Supabase. PostgreSQL extensions. This one. Did I already? I lost it. Superbase. Okay, come on. Wow, interesting. And then pgt.dev. What is that? Okay, people, you better be sending me valid links here. Extension registry. Whoa, what is this? Trunk is an open source package manager and registry for Postgres extensions. Visit pgt.dev. Okay. And discover and learn. Oh, it's like literally look at that. You're logged into Postgres, select all from PG available extensions where name equals PGMQ. Neat. So you just run that straight from the internet right into your shell, and then do that. Okay. Okay, that's cool. That's a package manager for Postgres. I thought I had heard about it. Is this the one that Supabase is using? Where's that list of extensions? They had this incredible like catalog of extensions. See all the documentation. Table view. Or about Postgres, maybe. No. Foreign data wrappers. That's cool. You can foreign data wrapper in Postgres is a view of something else that you can then query from Postgres. Look at that. Oh, extensions. Haha. Here's a good list. You got the REST client. You got JavaScript support. Got hypothetical indexes. You got Postgres auditing, JOT tokens, multilingual full text search, PG routing, PG cron for job scheduling. Yeah, lots of really cool stuff. PostGIS. I love PostGIS. By the way, this is one of those things where, like, let me see, johnarmstrong.com. I go to my old blog here. Content, PostGIS. Do a search. I did a blog back in 2008 on installing Post. I didn't spell it correctly. It's been wrong for 16 years, apparently. I don't know how to spell. PostGIS and the PostGIS and the Tiger geocoder, right? This is a long time ago. Yeah, like PostGIS is just dope. You can do cool stuff. So geospatial queries, if you want to do like find supermarkets near me or whatever, you can easily build that with PostGIS. Okay, I'm digging it. So far so good. We got some cool stuff here. What else did we look at? Let me see what the old compute. I like this. PostgreSQL. Yeah, that'd be fun. Upstash. Let's check out Upstash. I don't know what that is. You better not be sending me. Oh yeah, look at that. Serverless data platform. Okay. Redis. Okay. Kafka. Vector. QStash. Okay. Okay. Well. You could give yourself a seizure here. Pricing. Docs. I don't see mention of Postgres. Company. Docs. Pricing. Pay as you go for what? Vector. Tell me if this is this Postgres or what is this? And also, they're not going to be able to run Redis very long, are they? Unless they're like, this is going to be a very weird discussion here pretty soon, right? Doesn't that get impacted by the license change that we just heard about? Upstash, serverless Kafka. I don't think there's any Postgres here. I don't know. I don't see Postgres. So moving on. Yeah. Hey, Deshaun, you want to join me? Guy, you just boot Upstash. Yeah, just join me. How do I get this guy on the thing? Can you just join this? Can you just enter the studio? Yeah, Upstash will be impacted by the license change, right? Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I would guess so, right? Like that's not gonna work forever. There he is. Whoa. Hey, guy. Can you hear me? Test.
How about now?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, I froze my camera.
No, your camera's good.
Let's see.
All right. Okay.
We'll see if this works.
Everything okay? I can hear you. Okay. Well, whatever. So when you're able to, buddy, let us know. So okay. Is it me?
How about now?
I can hear you.
You can hear me.
And I can hear you.
Oh, there we go.
And you can hear me.
There we go.
Hey, man, good to see you. The system works.
The system does work. I was over here. I was in the chat. I was keeping up.
I appreciate you.
I didn't want to interrupt because I'm gonna have to take the kids. There's a dance.
You should. They
dance. So I'm gonna hang out. I'll hang out for a little bit, and I was paying attention. And this is fun. I like this exercise. Where did we land? I wasn't paying attention. I've lost the plot at this point. All I know is I love Postgres so much, and it's just nice to see everybody else does too. When we were talking about it, the idea was like, what are your options? Yeah. Like, Anthony did a talk at DevNexus, and he kind of did the same thing about like paths. Like, what are your options outside of Heroku? Like, where else can you go and deliver something? Do a CF push or a Pinio push or whatever. Like, where else can you do that? And he has a little list. So I'm kind of excited to watch that and see him present that again. But this is the same, right? We have all of these options, and options are good. Yes. And we just wanted to like compare, do a little bit of like, why would you choose this one over this one? And I think I've made the question worse because I was hoping to have an answer, but now I'm actually more confused and more uncertain than ever. I was hoping I could lean on my familiarity with some of the people behind it to make the decision easier. But somebody behind every single option. Exactly. This is our problem, right? Is that there's just so many. This industry is very small, and there's so many great choices. Now I'm still basically back where I started. And that I'm going to tell you though. So I was looking at the one with from Gwen. It's waitlist. It's not yet there, so that makes it easy for me. It's not ready for me, so I'm not ready for it. Which one is that again? Nile database. Yes. Oh, that's another one. Neon. That's a different one. Forgot about Neon. Serverless Postgres. Yes. Wait, that's the one that has the guy that screams at the clouds. What's his name? This is actually about us. Meet the team. Yeah, there's tons of options. Yellow. Okay, Mark. Let's see here. So we've got, this is a big team. Look at all those people. And they were asking for more. Yeah, okay, well, looks like a Neon CEO is Nikita Shamgunov, co-founder of MemSQL and Single Store. Okay. So features, what do we got here? What does this give us?
Fully managed serverless
Yeah.
Postgres with a generous free tier. We separate storage and compute to offer auto-scaling, branching, and bottomless storage. Bottomless storage means you can it's just cloud-based, so it'll just scale out horizontally. It's like S3. You'll never run out of an S3 disk.
Right. That's my take as well. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out this one.
Branching, though.
I think fits with another option. And I'm trying to remember names. Corey Quinn
Corey Quinn, yeah.
invested in one of these serverless database
Oh.
platforms that I'm on the wait list still, and I'm wondering if it's this one. I feel like it is. And he's an investor in it. And I think this is the one.
Database branching allows you to instantly branch your Postgres database to support modern development workflows. You can create branches for test environments and for every deployment in your CI/CD pipeline. Branches are created using the copy on write technique, making them virtually free. So is this like all the fun of Postgres with the complexity of Git? That
Yes.
sounds like a terrible idea.
Well, here, I understand the use case there.
Yeah.
You want to, hey, we're about to roll out new changes. We want to validate, or maybe it's a database migration. We want to validate it against the thing.
Yeah.
But how many times you get an option, or how many places do you have production size or production load? How many times do you have that available? You can branch it and go run things on branch and say, hey, that worked. Let's take it to prod.
Does that mean that, like, if I were to, in that CI pipeline, I could just have a different URL and I would be talking to a branch of the existing database, or what? What does this do? Neon control branches list, project ID, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, well, looks really cool. I think it's one of those things where wow, the pricing is good. Well, it's free for half a gig of storage, 24/7, community, fixed capacity, vCPU. This might be what I need. $20 a month for something real. That's 10 gigs of storage. That's very good for some of the comparisons. Integrated with your AWS, spend for $70 a month, basically. Priority support, auto scaling up to 8 CUs, IP allow rules. Okay, that looks cool. I mean, that's really good, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take. I mean,
Right,
CLI.
that's the other benefit of having all the competition, right? Is that just helps us
Vercel.
pricing wise.
Yeah, it does. We benefit because, like, it's open source, so they have to add extra stuff, right?
Yes.
It is just, we can all run Postgres. If any of these aren't doing what we want, we can literally just Docker run it. Like it wouldn't be production worthy, but it wouldn't be hard to get there either.
One of the guidelines, I guess I would use if I was doing a compare and contrast. One of the things that I would do in this exercise is go and look and see, is there Terraform / OpenTofu providers to stand up these databases. That's one of those. Again, that's why we have all these options, right? Everybody has their winners, the things that they use, that they lean into, and some of this list might have providers. Some of this list might have better integrations with XYZ. So there's a bunch of different things that we could be measuring these against. But I'm interested in you, like for you, what are the things that make a difference for you?
Right. Yeah. Being able to provision this with Terraform would be, like, even though they're hosted, you still want to be able to spin them up and create a new instance and all that. Yeah. I like it when companies have a GitHub repository. That means they're doing more than just running a container for me. Usually. Serverless Postgres. We separated storage and compute, offered auto-scaling, branching, and bottomless storage. Also, if you've got R&D happening in the bowels of the Postgres code base, that's kind of interesting. It would be nice to know that these people were, like, if the GitHub, like the ultimate flex is your GitHub repository just points to Postgres itself, and then you have a link with like all the contributions from people on your team. Like, show me the commits by user from.
Speaking of, have you seen the OSS Insight tool?
No.
Our friend Chris Phillipson showed me this. Let me grab the link real quick. it, and I will try to amaze you by sharing something that somebody shared with me. So I'm gonna get you excited by
Okay.
sharing something that somebody shared with me.
How many contributions from Microsoft VS Code?
Oh, there you go. You found it.
Oh. So do we want to see contributions by Postgres?
So you can do this. I'm gonna throw this chat so everybody can see. There you
Here,
go.
put it on your screen.
Yeah, the tool is interesting. I just threw the link into the chat. You can just go and analyze Josh. Like, hey, where has Josh been contributing? And it gives you this nice graph and analytics across all of your public works.
Whoa. Okay. Do I have anything?
I mean, it's impressive for the ones that I've looked at. It's pretty cool.
Wow. What are these numbers? Oh, stars.
Yeah. So you're doing stuff. You're doing good work. You're doing good work.
I'm doing work. I'm not sure if it's good yet, but what was that? 2020, January 1st, 2020, I did 2,309 commits.
Yeah.
What?
That's pretty amazing.
Wow, this is cool. I don't know. I'm not sure what pull request size, clearly. Wait, there's SQL? That's so cool.
Yeah, Chris Phillipson sent me a link. I think it's a neat perspective. It's a neat tool
Yeah.
for sure. Just going on like, hey, yeah, what other, and the flex would be like, hey, you have the link to your team and their OSS Insight, and then look at all of these Postgres commits that they're doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like that would be like all these different. I get why they're extending Postgres.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. To be fair, maybe this doesn't actually have a Postgres code base in here. Maybe these are just extensions that you deploy to your regular Postgres. I don't know. I haven't really dug into the code, obviously. It's got clippy.toml. Can't be bad.
There you go. One thing I was confused by, like if you're going to build your own Postgres, there's a distinction, right? Are you a downstream or upstream compatible, or are you like an extension?
Exactly.
Are you using the core, or are you compatible? Right? Is it a rewrite that's compatible?
Yeah.
That's probably something else. I don't know if that matters to me so much for what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
I know because of our position, I know that matters for some things. For some people, they want to make sure that they're running. It did for Kubernetes, right? For Kubernetes, that was a big thing. Like, hey, yeah, we're not on mainline, or we're a one-off, or we're a fork, and there's different flavors. So I know that sometimes that's gonna change people's decision.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, like I said at the outfront here, for me in my context, I'm not using any of the advanced features, so it doesn't seem worth it to me unless it's for cost, even there. So if the advanced features that require you to fork Postgres, if those features are about scalability and availability and speed, then I don't need them. My use case just isn't there. I don't want to pay the money, and I don't need the extra complexity. But if your fork or carving out or your changing of core Postgres as opposed to just extending it is to replace the storage and disk subsystems and whatever, so that they're cheaper or serverless or bottomless or whatever, then maybe I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, like I said, I think a $10. If I just bought 3 different $10 instances, I think I'd probably solve most of my problems.
Yep.
I'm too lucky. There's just too many good options right now. I feel bad for the people that have scale problems or whatever, because there you're down to 4 or 5 options.
Yeah.
Good.
The other piece that comes to mind here, Bill Kramer, I think it's Kramer. He's a Postgres contributor. He was at DevNexus. He stopped by and he said, hey, how do we work better with Spring? Because if you're extending and you're making changes to Postgres, and you're Postgres compatible, Spring Data and a regular Postgres driver is going to give you the core. Right? It might not give you all of the benefits of the platform that the platform provides.
Right.
So to get the most out of Yugabyte, you're going to want to switch to the Yugabyte
smart driver.
Yes. So that you can have things handle when region falls, or what do they call it? Tablet?
Yep.
Falls. So there's benefits there. And that conversation came up. Now that Postgres is evolving and it's doing things, sometimes that driver is going to make a big difference. So the next thing that I lean into is another metric for me would be, is there a Spring Boot starter for their specific driver? Can I get the benefits of their platform by using a Spring?
Yep.
That's going to be a big metric for me. And same thing I told Bill was like, I think today there's a better way than ever to get those custom things out the door and into the hands of developers easy. And that, I think, is the Spring CLI and the project catalog approach that you can do.
Yeah.
Anybody can do. And I think that's a good way of getting these things into the hands of developers.
I agree. Hopefully, as concerns Postgres, hopefully you don't need them. But if you do need them, it should be via Spring.
Yep.
They should be available. If it's unless you're doing something really, really, really interesting like Yugabyte is doing, right? Which is very, very custom, but also the results it's high change, but high reward,
Yeah.
High, whatever. I don't know. There's a climb. There's a barrier to entry to ride the YugabyteDB ride. But once you're on, you can go places that most Postgres just can't take you. I think that's fair. But if there's a change that's required, then absolutely you should ship a first class Spring story there. That's
just another metric that I'd be looking at.
Yeah.
Can I do the Terraform / OpenTofu approach?
Yeah.
And how much work do I have to get it? How much work do I have to put in order to get the benefits that they have provided?
Wow,
in my Spring Boot application.
They have their own Spring Data repository, which I talked about this in my video from 3 years ago, but
they've been putting a lot of work over there.
Yep.
They continue to put in a lot of work. And the other thing I'll say about Yugabyte is they've got a really good Slack. They got a really good community, and they do a lot of care and feeding for their community. And I'm impressed.
I do not like this. Not at all.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And I have to make a phone call.
Yeah. You know what else? We could probably just do a PR.
Yeah, or multi-line strings. Oh yeah, all of this needs to just go. Yep. This is actually causing.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
A little uncomfortable. Yeah. But I know they're mean well.
Yes.
So, okay, whatever. And the other one. Okay, wait. Before I get back onto that, I forgot. There's a AppWrite. This one, I forgot about them. They're like Supabase or Firebase as well. I think they have a Postgres story. Starter 0.15 scale. Wow, that escalated quickly.
Well, that's per member per month, and then per organization per month.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah, well,
What if I've got 2 members? Or what if I got 2 people in my organization? That got expensive.
Yep.
But 5 terabytes. Wow.
Yeah.
It's 500 gigs of storage versus 300. Unlimited projects. I'm so confused. Why would I bother with this? I have unlimited projects here.
5 terabytes of bandwidth versus 300 gigabytes of bandwidth.
Yeah.
Right.
What's an execution though? Which
is one? So here, that's a good thing. Yeah. That's what you'll have to read in the fine print, because some of these databases, in order to do some things, beyond the read and write, become a lot more expensive and they're harder to calculate. So they make up this framework or this there's a calculation there around those executions, and there's several databases that do that because they can't just charge you on reads and writes and on data in and data out, because
They're complex. Yeah.
There's complexity under there. So it's gonna, spike the CPUs, for example, and they can't just give you that away if you're doing those kind of things. Even though it's one read or one join, it spikes the CPU to all the way up to 11.
Well, plus
they're going to charge you different.
You just know some epithet, insert epithet here. Some epithet is to install the mine Bitcoin Postgres plugin.
Of course.
Make one call per month, but it's going to cost the entire server farm.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So this is a fun, there's a comment here that says, CockroachDB, love the name. The name to me says, you can't kill it.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's more than just the name. It's been around, it's done great things, and it seems to keep on getting better. That's one of those options that I can run on, hardware, and I can pull the wires on a data center, and the database is still going.
Which is important. You want your data, and also I think Cockroach is, my apps will come and go. Even my Spring and Java apps, I'll create new ones, but the data that backs that app is going to be here. Long after the rest of us have left, that data will still be important to somebody.
Yes.
Just like cockroaches, people will come and go, but cockroaches, there'll be a can of spam and cockroaches in the post-apocalyptic world.
Yes.
Let's see. Fall in love with distributed Postgres. This is an old one. I remember this. This is not new. Wasn't this like a plugin or something?
What is this? Citus?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. You get so much benefit out of your chat just coming in and adding
our chat.
Yes,
this
yes.
Is great. Look at that. Okay, so applications that love Citus, multi-tenant SaaS, analytics.
See that right there? Time series is
huge.
That's a nice. Time series is not as easy as it sounds.
No, TimescaleDB, by the way, that's another thing we could talk about. Is that's a plugin, but there's a Postgres distribution.
Yep.
Ready to get started.
So I want to help. I have to go and take my daughter to a dance. My daughter and her friend to a dance. I don't know if you're going to be around for a little bit, but I would love to. I want to do this exercise, and I want to do those. There's two things that matter. Can I provision it with something like Terraform? Or even a CLI. I would accept CLI, just something that I can do in my CI/CD where I could stand up a database, do some things, and then tear it down.
Right.
But I just want some way of doing that that's not going in point-click, provision. Spring Boot Starter. I'm curious now to see how many of these have a Spring Boot Starter and what the Spring story is.
I don't know. I hope only I think Yugabyte is probably the only one. Maybe Cockroach. Because why would they need it? It's just Postgres. It's the extensions though. It's the I hope those are the really weird ones needed, right?
I'm sure that they could use with the regular driver, but in order to get the benefits of the platform and the extensions that they're providing, do they have a Spring integration? Right? They wouldn't need it. Yugabyte needs it for that reason.
Magic.
And I think there's more that are coming that way. Right? We talked with the guys from Oracle, right? You can use the Hikari connection pool, or you could use theirs and get all the benefits that their platform provides. Mm-hmm. So you have options for a lot of these things. And I almost kind of look at it like garbage collection. The defaults are going to work for most things. But sometimes in order to squeeze the last milliseconds of latency out and the last dollars of performance out, you want the plus version.
I agree. This is another great shared thing from our chat here. Thomas for the win. I'm actually
things. The cloud native, when you're saying cloud native, I want I guess that'd be another example, right? Why I'm a big fan of Cockroach and Yugabyte is I want to be able to run it active. My children will never deploy active. I want to be able to run things in different data centers and then be able to, if one of those data centers falls over, is my data okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's expected
Oh,
now. There's a
these
whole
guys.
conference over this. Did you know that? There's a
Yeah.
whole distributed SQL conference.
I forgot. Yes. I forgot about EnterpriseDB, the original Postgres vendor, right? Like
Ooh.
these guys and gals. Do you remember Compara? Was it something like that? It's a ERP solution, and it had like thousands of SQL tables and storage procedures. It's like Sybase or not Sybase, like Siebel or whatever, you know. And they had it's a very very big solution with a thick client, and it's meant for lots of stuff. And I
It's
don't.
not ringing any bells, but I
It's
have to
okay.
go do the thing.
Okay.
I'll be watching, and if I'll come back, and if you're still on, I'll jump back in.
I think I'm gonna wrap this particular discussion up pretty soon here.
Okay.
So, but we'll stream again maybe this weekend, or if you're free.
All right. Yes, we got to do a couple of things this weekend.
Okay. Look forward to it, my friend.
All right.
Bye, buddy. So let me think. So we got. I'm talking to you, to the audience. We have this EnterpriseDB. This company, they created this is Postgres tuned to be compatible with Oracle. And this ERP software, I think it's ERP. It wasn't CRM. It was a huge system. Was originally written with Oracle only in mind. You had to buy Oracle licenses to use it. And then EnterpriseDB, this is like 2005, I think, like a long time ago. They appeared seemingly out of nowhere. I didn't know about them, at least. And they had managed to contribute to extend Postgres to such an extent that they could run huge ERP systems that were only compatible with Oracle, right? Basically unchanged, which is that's a big deal. Imagine taking something that this is before SAS was as common as it is now. But yeah, EnterpriseDB, I forgot about them. I should not have forgotten about them. I remember these people from decades ago. They were walking the Postgres walk long before it was the #1 database in the world, long before MySQL fumbled the ball and basically gave Postgres the lead, which it deserves because it's the better database, right? Interesting, yeah. Knowledge base, EnterpriseDB, Postgres. So yeah, look at that. You can run it on different Linuxes, advanced server, enterprise ready, Postgres with Oracle compatibility, and transparent data encryption. This is like, if you want the database, you want this one, right? This looks like this is the hardened thing that will allow you to, and it might be expensive relative to other Postgres it might be more expensive relative to that, but compared to running Oracle, if it does even most of what Oracle does, you're going to be in a good place, Postgres embedded, compatible with TDE from EDB. Okay. Trusted Postgres. Yeah, this is another one too. Do they have a SaaS offering? That's my question. EDB, big animal, fully managed Postgres in the cloud. Hello. Postgres is a service fully managed by one of the major contributors to Postgres. Start free. Yeah, they're not kidding. By the way, I've never used their stuff, but I remember reading about them. George Bush was president. Like a long time ago, right? They've always been in this community. And actually, if it's not claim $100 and 3, like if they have a thing that's reasonably cheap, I might even just go with them just because I should support their decades-long contributions. Postgres. What did we say earlier? It was like 10 cents for some of them, 8 cents. So this is 8 cents per vCPU hour, approximately $62 a month. Okay. It's just stock standard Postgres though. If I can get stock standard, bog standard Postgres for $10, I'm not sure why I would get this. This, on the other hand, this is the Oracle compliant one, and that still seems pretty cheap, right? That still seems $187 per per month. And this is the high availability one. That's $250 a month. So don't get me wrong. One of the things that's kind of interesting here is Oracle has made it cheaper to run Oracle. You know what I'm saying? And actually, since there are so many use cases for Postgres, it wouldn't surprise me one day to see Oracle releasing like a Postgres compatibility layer for Oracle database. But it used to be the other way around. It used to be the gold standard for all databases was Oracle, and you would want compatibility with that. So what does it look like? How much does it cost? I'm just kind of curious, because this is actually an interesting question as well. Oracle DB on Oracle Cloud. How much does that cost, I wonder? Oracle database is a great database. It's just that I think a lot of people jumped into Postgres because they were looking for 80% of the power with 0 of the cost. Okay, Oracle Cloud, Oracle Database, OCI. No, I want the services. Can I pricing? Oracle. I just want the database. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Virtual machine, object storage. No. Not MySQL. I just want the database, please. Base database. They have a okay, this one. This is the autonomous database. $618 a month for that. I just want. That's dedicated. It's for. Wait, why is the serverless cheaper than or more expensive than? Oh, wait. Oh, wait. What? I am so confused. What number governs here? Estimate. Why is this 11,000 and that's 500? What's happening? Wait a minute. Is this a different thing? No. Exadata. Who asked for that? I don't want to pay. What is Exadata? Just give me the database. I'm so confused. No. I'm doing this wrong. There's got to be. I know it's cheaper to run this than that, right? I just misconfigured it here. And Oracle. You can run free Oracle. There's actually what is that? Oracle Express Edition or something like that. It's limited. You can only do a couple gigs of RAM or something. There's some constraints to it, but it is actual Oracle, and you can run it for free, as far as I understand, or at least it used to be. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. No, so it's not the autonomous database, is it? It's got to be something else. Base data is this the base database? Oracle base database service enterprise. Unit price, is this per hour? I suppose it is. I just want the Oracle base database standard. I want Ampere because that's the. Okay, wait, that looks better. $200. 200. I was so wrong. That $11,000 thing. They should really make this better. I'm gonna go ahead and criticize them here. This should be hey, looking for Oracle database, click this, and we'll hide everything else for you. I think this ARM stuff, right? Intel is 362, AMD is 362. But if you're using the ARM stuff, it's much cheaper, which makes sense to me because it's more energy efficient and all that. Okay, yeah. So if you just want a regular database instance on ARM, yeah, it even says on ARM versus this. Yeah. Okay, Ampere. So if you're using it on ARM, you can run Oracle database for $202. So, and that's per month. That's $1,200 no, what is that? $2,400 a year. And so then you keep that in mind, and this is $187. So it gets you Postgres and that entire ecosystem, and scaled out and secure and all that stuff. Or this is a $250. So this is actually a slightly more expensive than running bog standard Oracle. But you get scalability, whereas the one I was just looking at there is not. It's not meant to be scaled out. It looks like it's just a single virtual machine with 256 gigs of RAM and all that. Well, anyway, the point is the Postgres are getting a little bit more expensive at the higher end, and Oracle has gotten considerably cheaper at the lower end. And I think now we're in a wonderful place where these things can and do compete. Yeah, amazing opportunities, my friends. Thanks for hanging out. I think we looked at a bunch of them. I don't know what the result is from this. I don't know. Did anybody figure out what Postgres they want to use? Because I have no idea now. I'm honest. I think I'm looking at. I'm going to go back and look at Crunchy just because I think that had cheapness and it's got good pedigree and it's available now, and it looks like it's got room to scale up and out. So, hi, let's see. Oh, interesting question. What is Apache age? Apache age. Oh my God. What? So this is the other thing. I mean, this is not the intent of this stream. I didn't want to look at all the extensions, but there's TimescaleDB, which is a time series database for Postgres, and really interesting. It's an extension though, right? But you can also get you can actually versus RDS Postgres, TimeStream, InfluxDB, explore our enterprise tier. Used by Uber, Warner Music Group, Coinbase, etc. Secure, private, worry free, try for free. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, you could PopSQL. Oh, they bought PopSQL. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if they have a time series database on top of Postgres. If you're just looking for Postgres, maybe don't. I mean, this seems a little. You're buying the time series database and you're bringing Postgres with it, which is a bit like the Supabase thing. You're buying a backend for a front end and you're getting Postgres with it. But yeah, interesting. I wonder about this. So the question is, how does this work from the perspective of Java? And yeah, I don't know. You can probably just use JDBC to issue queries, but it's not going to feel very natural, I guess. Oh wow, look at that! It even looks like the graph tool in Neo4j. PostGraphile and Hasura, Apache Age, graph database for Postgres, graph and SQL queries, integration deeply with existing Postgres features, GraphQL API from Postgres schema. This is really cool. I will check this out. I would love to see how that looks. I mean, from Spring Data's perspective, yeah, we're not going to have any particular support there. From the Java perspective or the JDBC perspective, you can use the JDBC template, I'm sure, to issue requests and work with this. In the same way that, for example, I did 2 days ago when I did a demo for Google Cloud Next. I used AlloyDB, but I just used it from the perspective of a SQL query going to AlloyDB, and I could use the vector functions within the SQL query. There was nothing special about it though. It was just another function you call in the context of your query. Okay, all right, good discussion, everybody. Oh yeah, for a while there, EDB was the easiest way to get PostGIS on Windows. Very true, very true. And that, by the way, is one of the interesting things to me about Postgres was people don't realize up until version 8.0 of Postgres, they didn't have Windows support, right? They didn't have Windows support, so there was no way to run on Windows. You had to set up a Linux container and then use that from there, and it was very not great, right? You could, but by that point, everybody was using MySQL. It was super easy. There's LAMP installers, and I don't use Windows. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But on the other hand, most people do. Like still the very, very vast majority of all people that use desktop or laptop machines are using Windows on this planet, and that includes developers. So of course they're going to want to have something they can use, and this is before Docker, before there was easy virtual machines, before even what's that thing from HashiCorp? I forgot the name. The thing that makes it easy to spin up virtual machines. Even before that, right? So yeah, LAMP was everywhere. If you wanted to run a SQL database on Windows, you could use Microsoft Stack, SQL Server, or Access, or just run MySQL, and they had some pretty good support there. Finally, version 8.0 of Postgres, which, we're on version 16, so that's, half of the versions of Postgres. But that was actually recently. That was like 2008, 2005. Postgres 8. When did that come out? 2005. Yeah, January 19th. So that was the first version to have a native Windows build that ran on Windows. And that changed everything. I think that made it so that people were suddenly not so scared about running Postgres because they didn't have to do, forgetting how painful it was to set up a virtual machine before anyway. Remember, this is 2005. Now you have free, you have VirtualBox, and you have a bunch of other, even VMware Player. I think you can download and run for free. I'm not sure, but I think you can, right? I don't know, but even all that stuff was that didn't, there wasn't necessarily easy access to free or cheap or commodity virtual machines back then either, So here we are, 2024, 2019, almost 20 years later, and now it's like, well, first of all, if I wanted to run a virtual machine, I could. It's easy, but then even there, why would I just use a Docker container, right, for my development experience? So, yeah, was Terraform? No, not Terraform. Terraform is not the thing that created the containers. Vagrant. Vagrant is the thing I'm thinking of. It used to be like Vagrant that's a relatively new thing, right? Again, it's the last 10, 15 years. So the question, Ambu, is what do you think Postgres got so right that it became the denominator for everything? I think there's a combination of things. First of all, it's got more features than basically everything except for SQL Server and Sybase and Oracle and the like. And even there, I think you could start to argue that maybe it does have more features. It's but let's just be humble as we can be. Let's just say Oracle is the most featureful, certainly the most featureful out of the box database on the planet at the moment. But then you get into a question of what the cost, right? The cost is, as we just discovered, it's not that prohibitive anymore, but it used to be extraordinarily prohibitive. 20 years ago, if you wanted to run Oracle database, it would cost you. That would be the very large majority of the cost, and it was well worth it because it was the best database. But, you're almost incentivized to not scale. You're almost incentivized to not succeed because the cost would be in the middle layer. And once you in the lower tier, it wasn't that expensive. In the middle, it got the stepping function. It almost didn't earn its keep there. And then at the high tier, it's not that much more than the middle tier. So that cost was prohibitive. So people looked for alternatives like MySQL, and then MySQL, and then Oracle bought MySQL, and then that the founder of MySQL created a fork the same day. Like I think it was the same day as Oracle announced the acquisition of MySQL. There's a fork called MariaDB, which is a pretty baller move, if you think about it, right? Imagine somebody buys your company and the IP to your open source database, and then the same afternoon, as soon as the ink is dried and the announcement's out, forked, and so yeah, that chaos around MySQL, I think sowed that, plus the availability of the Windows port, plus the rise of Docker. So now it's really easy to just spin up a Postgres instance. Plus the realization, I think a lot of people realize, like, Postgres will handle your scale. Okay, Google made a lot of noise for MySQL back in 2003, 2004, because it came out that MySQL was the Google cache machine, the AdWords system was using MySQL, and that Google had invested heavily in MySQL. And what they didn't tell you at the time was that they had basically turned it into a NoSQL database. They weren't using, well, first of all, MySQL didn't have, by default, a lot of the transactional data integrity tools, right? By default, you had MyIASM, which is the engine behind MySQL. If you were using the default, which is what that was, then you didn't get foreign keys. You didn't get like data integrity. You didn't constraints, right? All that stuff just didn't work. And even more insidious, you would write a query, it would say it would work, and then it wouldn't. It would just silently ignore the data constraints, referential integrity, and all that. So yeah, Google was able to scale MySQL back in 2003 with MySQL, but that's because they disabled. I mean, it's a NoSQL database at that point. It was basically like Redis, right? Or something even less rich in terms of domain. So yeah, of course they could scale it, but that's not hard, right? I can go really fast with dev null too. It doesn't mean it's a good idea. So I think that realization that, hey, MySQL, it provides scale, but that scale isn't actually, first of all, most of us don't have that scale problem, and the scale we do have, Postgres can more than keep up with. That plus the realization that MySQL is just forked, so now there's this incredible chaos around it. Will MySQL continue? Will Oracle screw it up, or will MariaDB dominate, or what? Those two things caused issues. That plus the sort of just steady, the availability of the Windows support in Postgres, plus the steady sort of contributions in the community. Even 15 years ago when I did that blog on PostGIS in 2008, or 16 years ago, even then you could write Postgres queries in Java and in Python and Perl and TCL and there's PLPG SQL. It was a very rich environment. It was an extensible environment, and they already had foreign data wrappers, so you could talk to a CSV file or another SQL database or whatever from within your Postgres. Already these things were starting to come to light. Then you get things like EnterpriseDB, which made it so that you could actually run Oracle workloads on Postgres. And now the gap between MySQL and Postgres just starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, you can do anything in Postgres. I mean, it's got a graph database, it's got a time series database, it's got full text search, it's got XML and JSON, it's got blob storage, it's got everything. You can do graph databases in there. As we just saw with Apache AGE, right? I mean, it's always had this very extensible core, and people just keep adding to it. And then PostGIS, geospatial queries. That's the original. That to me that was worth using Postgres just by itself. The geospatial queries, you could pay a vendor lots of money or just use that. Lots of money. I mean, ArcGIS does a very good job. These other vendors do a very good job, but you're paying through the nose for that support, versus a bit more work, but it's open source and you can run it and it's out there and it's supported. Things like PostGIS. And so suddenly you've got these huge verticals that are just being handled capably by Postgres 10, 15 years ago, and now fast forward to today, and suddenly commodity hardware is cheaper. It's not hard to run a Postgres instance that can handle millions of users or millions of queries, not hundreds of millions or billions, but millions. You could do a lot of data in just a bog standard Postgres. I think you take all these things together, all of them at the same time, this perfect storm, and it seems like Postgres would have to win. And then the cloud. The other thing is the cloud. Now it's like the question of how do you deploy a thing. It used to be that a DBA, I'm sure a lot of you have worked with DBAs, right? Database administrators. I am a programmer, and I pair well, like a fine wine with crackers. I pair well with a database administrator, a DBA, a database expert, somebody who knows how to administer, query, work with, back up, operationalize Oracle or SQL Server or Sybase, right? These are full-time jobs, or at least they used to be. I used to have a subscription to Oracle magazine, not the Java magazine, just the Oracle database thing, and every month there'd be articles about all these cool things it's a whole life. You could be an Oracle SQL database. Yeah, exactly. It's a special position. It's really, really hard work too. There's a lot you have to keep up with there. It's a whole community. And so back then you'd have to pay somebody full time to babysit that database to make sure it was healthy and happy and cared for and well fed all year. Well, now I can just like we just spent the last 2 hours looking at like 20 different companies, all of which would be happy to do all that care and feeding for our Postgres for us, right? And they're going to do, and by definition, they've automated more of it than any one DBA that I could hire today would do, right? They have streamlined the operations they've secured better and more scalably, more than any single person I could hire could do. And the cost per year is much cheaper, right? So now I have no fear anymore. I don't need, like, the investment in Oracle isn't just the expensive license. It's also the database personnel, the operations people, all that stuff, So now I can just pay somebody else to babysit Postgres, and I can just use it. And if I don't have to worry about it being available or being secure and scalable and supporting data at rest, secure encryption at rest, if all those things are moot, then why wouldn't I? Now, of course, you could say, well, Oracle has done the same, right? I can now go, as I just showed you, we can go to Oracle's cloud infrastructure, OCI, Oracle Cloud, and spin up Oracle, and they'll babysit it for us. So that's also good too. I think Postgres has pushed them down into commodity pricing ranges as well, right? So yeah, it's just I think if that's true, if the cost of both is the same or close to the same, and Postgres has just become, it's open source, whereas Oracle is not. I don't know. Maybe you know what? Maybe I will deploy. Maybe the lesson here is I'm going to deploy Oracle. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably not. But because I've got many more years now of experience with Postgres. And again, this is the other thing that's so interesting to me is the things you need to know to work with a database. From a developer perspective, those things go up because the database does more now, right? I mean, Oracle's always had a stored procedure language, P-SQL, right? PL-SQL, and Postgres has PG-PL-SQL. But also there's all these new features, time series databases, graph databases, full text, whatever. All those things, they're exposed to the user in terms of the queries that you can write and send to the SQL database. So all those things have gotten more, not less, right? On the other hand, the things I, as a person running a database, need to know about running that database has gone down considerably, right? Deshaun was rightly wondering what it would look like to use Terraform or OpenTofu to spin up these databases. But even there, for me personally, I'm happy just to push the button and forget. I just want to, here's my credit card, give me a database, and as long as it's backed up and scaled and available, I don't want to hear from you again. If there's a problem with the bill, that's when I want you to call me, or when I want to hear. I don't want to have to wear a pager. I don't want to have to check my emails. Just make sure it works, right? So yeah. So I guess any thoughts about Spring treating Postgres as a special database to better support its extensibility? There's nothing we can do, right? It's JDBC. The question here is, should Spring do more to support its extensibility? To the extent that there are extensions that need to be manifest in the Java code, one would hope that those would become available first in JDBC. And for the most part, a lot of us, if you're just using a SQL mapper like JDBC template or JDBC client, you don't care. You're not using anything. It's just queries. It's just the queries you're sending back and forth. From Spring Data JDBC's perspective, there might be something to that. I think we have support, for example, with PostGIS, Spring Data, JDBC, PostGIS. Let's see. We have I don't know, but I mean, like for example, in MongoDB we have geospatial support. Oh yeah, so in version 2.3, we introduced the JDBC Postgres dialect that allows registration of simple types that are not converted. So it's extensible, but it's not. We don't provide most of it out of the box. But for example, if you have a property of type PG point in your entity, I guess you can register it, and we'll allow you to do that. I'm not sure though. So yeah, I mean, to the extent that that's possible, I think it's being done, but it's not. But because it's the ecosystem of things that are supported grows so fast. So I don't know. All right, everybody. Look, this is great. I'm glad we had this conversation. Thanks for hanging out. I'm so glad Deshaun got to joined us. Thomas, what do I think of Eclipse Store? Is that what is Eclipse Store? Is that the Eclipse link? Eclipse Store. No idea what it is. I'm not even sure what it is. Is this like Couchbase? It's got a edge. Oh, this is MicroStream. Is that what it is? Is that the? I know what this is. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I think they have a starter that you can use. Yeah, go for it. I think it's just it's a transactional RAM cache basically, right? And it'll do persistence or whatever. I talked to these guys when it was still called MicroStream. I talked to them during the pandemic. That's cool stuff. Yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks everybody. Have a nice, wonderful weekend. Thanks for hanging out, and talk to you later. Bye.